Why is preparedness so hard? For most people, anyway. It's hard because you got to look at the ugly or think about the ugly, and then figure out a solution for yourself to get around it. It's not easy to do for most people, and it's not something that most people want to do. At least that's a perception people have of preparedness. I don't want to think about the evil. I don't want to think about the bad. I don't want to think about the hurricane, the big storm, let alone something major happening, that could destroy the whole everything's, are out there. I don't want to think about it. And that's where they stop. I would prefer to go back to my normal life, pretend it couldn't happen. But you're watching this to try to figure out how to get around it, how to think past it. And that is the key to it, is you're not thinking about the event, you're thinking about the recovery. And honestly, a lot of it is, the way, as a Christian, I look at it as the devil messed up. He may be afraid of it, so now I need to know how to figure out how to overcome it. And when he makes you afraid of something, that's the thing that you need to push into to figure out how to overcome it in order to get to the next level. So if you're afraid of preparedness and what could come, then that's what you need to do, to get the solution to the problem that you're concerned about. Be it a societal collapse, a hurricane, a disaster, a forest fire, the U.S. government or the global governments falling apart, whatever it may be, the war between the country and the next country, whatever it may be. That's what preparedness is supposed to do, is to take away that fear from you. It's not about stuff. It's about fear reduction. And that's why it's fearlessly prepared. What I do is fearlessly prepared. It's having a mindset to shift change. A lot of people think it's gear. And it's like a person that is used to adversity and thinking outside the box will do better than the person that has never had to think outside the box and has all the gear. Because if the tool widget maker 6427 that solves all my problems doesn't work, they're out of luck. But a person that knows how to think outside the box and has trained their mind to do so and prepare in preparedness settings is much more likely to overcome that challenge. So how do I do that without living in fear all the time? How do I overcome all the fear? Well, the fear is just it's going to be there. It'll come. But you cast all my cares to the Lord, or however you want to phrase that. But you give your cares to him, but you take action about those cares. So you're concerned about, let's pick one of the big ones, EMPs. It's like an EMP goes off in the middle of the country, nothing's working, no power's going. That could never happen. It could. It has in the past with coronal mass ejections. They've shown EMPs, the government tests on it. They honestly laugh at most of the stuff that's on YouTube and out there that think is going to work, and you're going to keep your car working because you do XYZ, or you're going to have your ham radio work because it's in this little Faraday bag, or in a trash can, inside of a trash can. If it's a really powerful one, probably it still won't. But that's not to shed fear, that's to have the knowledge base to know how to think beyond that. Do you know how to communicate without major electronics? It's done for thousands of years. So we can do it again. We just have to have that knowledge base in order to do it. So gaining knowledge and having a basic set of supplies in order to get yourself to the next level of the new normal, or a reset, or whatever people want to use, the buzzwords or whatever it may be. It's like, we have the end of the world as we know it, the TEOTWAWKI thing, be it the EMP or World War III or some crazy thing happens. Do you have a basic supply to provide for yourself and your loved ones to overcome the disruptive time? That's up for you to determine for what that would be. I have some very strong recommendations on that. I think a bare minimum is 90 days. Really 90 days. People think 1-2 weeks. The government says 14 days to 21 days. When it first started doing disaster preparedness and warning people of disasters, they said 3 days. Then they went to 7 days. And now they're up to like 21 days. I've seen as high as 41 days on some of the government sites and reports that they put out that you expect after such X disaster, you need 41 days minimum of preparedness. And that's what the government says. If they say that, you need to at least double it. That's my personal opinion on that. So what do I do? How do I prepare for that? How do I plan for that? I don't have enough space. I don't have enough resources. That's where the knowledge comes in, because you actually might have more than you think you do and have ways to resupply in ways that you can't imagine right now, because you've not thought and spent some time on it. It's just being calm, taking small bites at a time. Prepare for 3 days. You don't have to prepare for the 90, 120 days. You know, some people go, I prepared for 3.5 years or 7 years or whatever, or 10 years. You know, that's all sounds really fine and good, but there's a certain diminishing return after a certain period of time, depending on the disaster. Ideally, I think a gold standard for most people would be a year, at least, just because then you have a chance to get things growing, connect with other people, create a relationship with people that are still going strong and having a barter system going, or setting up a new infrastructure, or the government, hopefully, or the new government, whatever that may be. I'm not saying that I want any governmental changes or anything like that. I don't want any of that. However, history has shown that it happens, and happens over and over and over again. So it's foolishness to think that it can't happen where I live or where you live. It can happen, and it probably will happen. If you look at the history of the world, nobody lives in Rome. Nobody, it's just, they don't live there. Aztecs, Incas, there's not getting into the issues why they're not there anymore, but they're not there. So it can happen. So let's prepare for it. So, and now, did all the people that were in all those cultures die off and go completely away? No. Were they greatly diminished in some cases? Yes. But some of them lived because they had a knowledge base, an ability to adapt, to overcome, and be prepared to ride out the storm, however that may have been for them. So preparedness is just adopting that mindset and being proactive in it to make the learning curve and the transition time as minimal as possible. I have people that I know that live in New Orleans, and also in Florida and several other places where they were hit by major hurricanes, Katrina, and then the 2003 year and 4, where there was, 2003. I always forget. I lived through it. I still forget what year it is. Where 3 hurricanes went over my house. You know, it's like, it was rough. I was prepared for first and second one, but I didn't prepare for that. I prepared as best I could. I had the knowledge base, but I didn't have some of the supplies anymore because I'd used them up. My tarps were gone after the first storm. You know, those things happen. Because my roof was gone first storm, second storm, roof was gone first storm, tarps were gone the second storm, third storm, put out pots. You do what you got to do. But it's having knowledge base and doing better. It's like if I was living there now, I'd have a whole different plan and game plan on how to do things because I have a deeper knowledge base. But prepare for what you have to the best of your ability. Do it with wisdom, and don't fall for the fear games. There's people out there talking that this weekend, the end of the world could happen, and all the U.S. government dollars and the whole global economy could fail. And no, I don't think so. And it's like a prepper guy that, I could sell a lot more things saying it would, but I don't think it will. It's just too big to go away tomorrow, in my opinion. Now, could I be wrong? Yeah, I could be, but I don't think I am. Now, when I think is going away, yes, I do. Is it going to happen over the weekend? No. A couple of years? Could. Could it be a couple of decades? Could. I don't know. I'm not predicting any of that stuff, but I'm preparing to the best of my ability with the resources that I have to help as many people as I can. And that's what preparedness is, to help others. And also, that doesn't mean you have to do it completely as without any personal benefit from it, because you're benefiting from it. You're having a better standard of living in a disaster. You're recovering faster. I know people that I have consulted with that are business owners, and their businesses actually do better at through the disaster and on the recovery side because they prep for their business as well, so their business can get up and running faster, which means they're making money when their competition isn't making money. So applying that same principle to your life is amazing because you're able to go back to work faster. You have less stress on your life and be more productive, more rested, and more equipped to do things to help others and bless others is what preparedness, and for me, is about. Is knowing that the disasters are going to happen. And said, as a Christian, reading the Bible, it says it's going to happen more and more frequently, and until the end of time. So, referring to the birth pains, it's Matthew 24, and there's a number of other places in Scripture as well as mentioned. But just as things get worse and worse and worse, if we're better prepared for it and better equipped to do it, and live through that situation to help others and get ourselves back up and going faster, that's better for us. And it doesn't, you can do it in ways that it doesn't take you to be your entire life. You know, you don't have to give up Little League for your kids. You don't have to give up the bowling league. You don't have to live in the middle of a bunker in Wyoming or wherever, pick whatever it may be. You know, you can pick whatever, or oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. You don't have to do all those extreme levels of things. Would you be safer in some of those situations? Yes. Would it be more dangerous in some of these situations, in those locations? Yes. Depends on what happens and what you're prepared for. Can you mitigate those issues by planning ahead and preparing? Most definitely. I encourage people to start where they are, do the best that they can, and figure out how to be prepared as much as possible. A person that lives in an apartment is not going to prepare the same as somebody that has 400 acres in the middle of nowhere. It's not realistic, not practical, and just, we're not going to do it. So let's not plan our lives that way, looking at the other person. Because the guy on the 400 acres is going to do completely different, have a completely different structure than the person that lives on 4 acres, let alone the person that lives in a 400 square foot apartment in New York. This is going to be totally different. But you can all prepare and all be equipped to live longer, to be able to help others longer, to do more for people than if you just sit there and rely on the government to come help you. They will, to the best of their ability, but if it's a major thing, it may take a long time. And they warn you, like I said, 21 days. So anyway, I'm starting to repeat myself here. I encourage you to prepare for yourself, prepare for others if you can, and don't run from this because it's overwhelming. I get it. I've been there. I've done it. It can be overwhelming if you let it to be. But if you choose a small goal and aim for one small thing, you can hit it. And then you go, what's my next target? What's my next target? I want to have 3 days of food. Okay. Every time I go to the grocery store for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to buy, and say you go 2 times a week. Most people go actually 3 or 4 times a week to the grocery store on U.S. average. But anyway, so if I go 2 times a week and I buy an extra meal every day for everybody in the house that doesn't require refrigeration. Let's see here, 2 times, you want 3 days, so that's 9 meals, 2 times a week, 5 weeks. I've got more than enough of that, and actually you already have a meal or 2 in your house at least. Some people out in the country, they're like, what, 3 days? I've got 4 weeks already, you know, and they're not even preppers because they just don't want to go to the grocery store that often because they live that far out. So take your own situation, your own where you are. Don't compare yourself to others when it comes to the preparedness game. Make it a game also. Make it more fun for you, enjoyable. There's ways to do that with kids. I have lots of games I play with my kids on preparedness that don't put them in any danger, don't cause them any type of hard things. One of them that I like to play right now is ice cream soup. And it's like, what? What's ice cream soup? Ice cream soup is a game where you buy ice cream from the grocery store and say, right now I'm filming this in the summertime, can you get me home You tell me to go straight, left, or right before the ice cream melts. And will they make it or not? If they pay attention the first time, they may not. No plan for that. Have some ice cream at the house so they don't have to be so upset. But play ice cream soup with them a couple times. They'll learn how to get home from the grocery store or other places too. And it's not being mean. You're not going to be cruel to the kid or your children. You're training them to pay attention outside so they can get home if they ever need to in a different situation. Some kids may get it, some kids may not, but all my kids did, and they all have, and you try, and it's fun for them. They're actually like, can we play ice cream soup? Because they want to have ice cream. And and again, when they first start playing it, I actually set them up for success. Start outside, 2 blocks away from the house. So, and you got, 10 minutes before it'll all melt. Or it's a milkshake. Who cares? You're having fun with them. Let them enjoy it. Preparedness doesn't have to be stressful. It can be a game. You can enjoy it. Take a small bite at a time. Get prepared, because preparedness reduces the fear. And I encourage you to prepare, because your future self will thank you. You guys have a good night.